Hard to remember having such a famous guest on. Not since last week have I had a famous guest on, but this one's an actor. This one comes from the street, and I think this one's Irish. And as an Irishman, I'd like to drink to that. Right now, you're listening and watching the Yet Come On Show, brought to you by Circle285.com. Go to Circle285, get a quote. Don't be afraid. I know you're paying too much. I was paying too much. Don't be loyal to your insurance carrier. Get a free quote. Circle285.com. OxygenFinancial.com. Ask for Ted Jenkins for your money issues. And lastly, Ridgeline Counseling. Dr. Dave Markwell is waiting to hear from you. Just look it up, Ridgeline Counseling. They're here in Atlanta, and they're also up in Blue Ridge. They'll help you wherever you are. And they kept my marriage together. So special thanks to David Markwell. Right now on the Yet Come On Show, I have a man to introduce, which takes me from my cool glasses to my reading glasses. Because Brett Barney sends me shit like this. Today's guest.
Intro. I try and make it longer every time.
You son of a bitch. Today's guest, listen up, people. The Yet Come On Show is living large. Love did walk through the door. Special thanks to Thunder, one of the second greatest rock and roll band of all time. Today's guest grew up in Old Harbor projects of South Boston. I guess to those of us that have heard the term Southie, he's one of those. At 14 years old, he was working the streets. He was a break dancer. Who knew? Which landed him in some big gigs, one of them being in a Gatorade ad with Michael Jordan. That's pretty cool. Big time, especially, after 10 episodes of Michael Jordan lately, that puts you in my huge category, like badass. In 96, he made his TV debut as a drug dealer on Pacific Blue. Then he was involved in numerous TV shows, commercials, and movies. How about a movie, Patriots Day? He was in it. How about American Hustle? Gone, Baby, Gone. How about The Departed, where he was a technical advisor for Leonardo DiCaprio and Scorsese? He had to tell them if what they were doing was right. He's an original member of Mark Wahlbergs' Entourage that inspired the hit show on HBO, Entourage. He just released a feature, not a future. When you can't read, that shit looks the same. But it is a feature film that is coming up now, maybe in the future, called Scalpers. He wrote it, produced it, directed it, and is starring in it. The last thing you saw him in on television was the LA riots. He was there in the riots. We'll find out why. Our special guest on the Yet Come On Show is Jay Giannone. Hey, Jay.
Hey, brother. Hey, thanks for not butchering my name. Really good job. Those Italian last names are tough.
Hey, dude, I know. I may not get feature or future down, but I got me some Giannone. I got you.
Thanks, bro.
Are you drinking? I got to know on the Yet Come On Show. We're alcohol. You know what? I got that too.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
But you see, mine is Publix. Yours is Evian because you got LA money. What's up?
Yeah.
No, I just want to know. I'll start with the LA riots. We've all been watching it. I understand today's a blackout. I haven't blacked out, but I'm not doing any social media. But how did you find yourself in the riot? Were you going to the store? Did you feel a part of the cause, or what was it?
Well, being a breakdancer, from 1983 and on, I was in a breakdancing group called the Floor Lords. It was a very multicultural group. There were Cape Verdean kids, there were African-American kids, there were Puerto Rican kids. And in that world, I was one of two white kids. So I was the minority. But we didn't see colors. So I've kind of been down with the whole, equality movement and not seeing colors my entire life. So growing up, I've had a lot of black friends, Asian friends, Puerto Rican friends. My mother taught me not to see colors. So being out here in LA, I just so happen to be prepping on a music video that I'm going to be working on with Young Thug and Yella Beezy and Chris Brown. And so I'm staying down here because we're shooting south of here. And then these riots break out. And I'm wondering, okay, what is the riots all about? and it's for equality. So I felt that, you know what, I'm going to march in this because I think, you know, equality is important. I think nobody should be killed for the color of their skin or treated a bad way for the color of their skin. I mean, I look at it like this. If your child was drowning in a pool and there were only 3 black lifeguards, does it matter who saves your child? No, it doesn't. So it shouldn't matter what color anybody is in any instance or any situation. So my friends couldn't march here because they were back east, some of my African-American friends. So I went and joined the march to march for them to help spread the word. You know, I'm angry also about, you know, people that are dying from the police. That's not only, you know, black, there's a lot of people dying from the police, but right now the focus is on black people. And you know, they're getting slaughtered out there and something does have to be done. But as soon as I saw the looting and a lot of bad stuff going on, I opted out. I didn't, you know, want to support anymore except from the comfort of my own place because I don't want to endanger myself.
No, you're right. The only riot I've ever been a part of was the Rodney King riot, and that was here in Atlanta. Never did I think that what I saw on the television in LA was going to come to Atlanta, but it did days later. And I was downtown, and there was a gathering in what we call Woodruff Park here. And next thing you know, I'm listening to the radio, and they're like, they're breaking out windows at Macy's. And I'm like, well, that's up the road. So, you know, I'm like, get in the car. This is ugly. It's going to get worse. Sure as hell, before the night was over, the intersection where my office was is one intersection up from where everything took place at CNN. It's on a street called Spring Street. Dude, they bashed out the windows, stole all the desktop computers, which wasn't easy back then. Heavy-ass desktops, and flipped 2 cars over for no reason. I'm like, holy shit. So I'm with you. I don't understand that aspect of it. If you march peaceful, then I'm with you. But once you start shooting birds at every camera, you know, but then again, you got to take a step back and understand, you know, some of these people haven't had good parental advice. They're not educated. They don't get it. They really maybe don't have a damn chance. You know, they got nothing to lose. So I'm with you. We got to build a chance for them and do what we can. But, you know, I said on my morning show this morning, maybe you've seen it, you know, that racism goes both ways. There's reverse racism. I've been a white guy in the wrong place more than a few times and been messed with big time. Of course. You know.
Yeah, it exists. It exists. In every culture, in every race, it exists. And we got to do something about it and make a statement because it shouldn't be happening to anybody, not you, me, not anybody.
No, when you look at your background of a breakdancer, if you were doing that in 83, I was 18 in 83, graduating high school. How old were you? Because if you can still do all that, you're not a young man. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, I was 13 in 83. So, yeah, you look good. You look young for your age, man. Good for you. You know,
thank you.
I feel good.
Hold on. Looking good. A little highlighted, maybe too highlighted. 55, baby.
You're drinking. Send me that diet plan. You're doing all right over there, brother.
You know what it is? I've got a 3-year-old, and I've got my wife's going to have a baby in 2 weeks. So I'm going to be a dad at 55.
Yeah, it's the diet plan.
It's chasing kids is what does it. But you look like you're in great shape too. And what a wonderful career. You know, everything that you were doing. I want to thank Brett Barney, my producer and co-host, for booking you, because I was looking at everything, and how cool just to be a part of the actual entourage, you know, that we know as Mark Wahlbergs' real life story put on screen. I'm sure it's not all factual, but it's kind of cool. Were you one of the 4, or were you like among like 10 or 11, 12 guys that hung out with Mark?
You know, there was probably a strong 6, and I was one of the 6, but I was one of the 4 that lived in the house with Mark. So there was a lot of my real life, you know, situations and experiences that were implemented into the show. I worked with Doug Ellen a lot, you know, just trying to give him ideas whenever he would ask for them. When he was writing the pilot, I consulted with him. And then also, you know, when Rob Weiss and had come along, you know, we would hang out together, and I would try to just help, you know, just give as many, you know, stories and ideas as I could that would help the show, because I love the show. It's a great show. These guys, you know, Steve Levinson and Mark and the rest of the gang, they did a really nice job with the show. I mean, it's going to go down in history. You know, there was a strong six of us. There was kind of like the turtle character. It's almost like you could see a little bit of me and a couple other guys in that character, but probably mostly my friend Donnie Carroll, who goes by Donkey. He had passed away, unfortunately. And then I'd say in the drama character, you would see this guy, Johnny Alves. It was mostly him, and the character's name was based off him. But a lot of my real life was in there. Like in the show Drama, he was on Pacific Blue. I was really on Pacific Blue. You know, he dated some Playboy chicks. You know, I married a Playboy chick. So there was a lot of stuff from my life that was in that character. And even sometimes the E character, because I'm a go-getter and I always try to create business. So there could even be maybe a very tiny bit of that. But, you know, a lot of it just came from the guys that hung around Mark a lot, like, you know, Eric Weinstein, Steve Levinson, myself, even this kid, Ace, Andy Thomas, who was in the Funky Bunch. I mean, you know, they pulled from all of us. And then they got really creative by like second and third season. You know, they ran out of stories and stuff with us. So they started looking at Leonardo DiCaprio and his crew. And then they started looking at Matt Damon and Ben Affleck and, you know, and then Kevin Dillon's brother, Matt Dillon, and trying to find stories and things that could gel and that would work for the show. And, you know, 7 seasons, you know, into it, they were just doing a really good job. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun to be a part of it because I worked behind the scenes on the show. My job was, when I first watched the pilot, I said, there's no broads. Where the fuck are the girls? I said, are you kidding me? I said, I live with Mark Wahlberg. There's fucking like 30 chicks outside the house right now. Like, what do you think this is? We're kids. Girls love Mark. We date fucking hot chicks, man, because Mark's a chick magnet and he's famous. And they were like, wow, you got a point. They were like, we're doing a reshoot. I said, all right, let me talk to my girlfriend and let me get you like 15 girls to sprinkle around in the reshoot. It worked. HBO fucking loved it. They offered me a job. I became the guy who cast only models to sprinkle them like in the sushi restaurant around the actors, or, you know, when they were like, we need a love interest for somebody, I would go out and find a good actress that's a model and work in the casting with Sheila Jaffe. Sheila had, you know, taught me some stuff and told me what to look out for and then trusted me with this opportunity. And, you know, it all came from Mark, of course. But before you know it, you know, I'm a couple seasons in and my job is casting beautiful women for the show. So I would interview 200 models, Playboy centerfolds, porn stars a week in my office at Mark's production company. It was insane. The women that were coming through, they were so beautiful. I had a lot of fun meeting people, and then I would hire girls and I would give a lot of girls their first speaking part on a episodic show. And, you know, I had a good time doing it and I made some money doing it and I was staying a part of what was going on. So that was a blessing, you know?
No, I bet staying a part of everything. And it's kind of funny, yeah, when you're in that mode, but you were in that mode married. So you couldn't even capitalize on the situation, which of course would have been unprofessional, but who gives a shit?
Well, back then I was going out with this penthouse pet, okay? I was loyal to her, of course. Yeah, I could have capitalized on the situation. You're right, because I had a lot of chicks that were like, I'm not kidding you. We had a scene where a girl jumps in the pool naked. And so they were like, we need you to find the girl. She has like an under 5 couple lines. I'm like, no problem. So I put the word out to the agents. They all sent me their best, like, you know, boob girls that were hot. And they came in. I was getting the camera ready to do, you know, an interview with the girl so the executive producers could see her. I turn around. She's fully naked. I'm like, oh, my God. I'm like, hey, put your clothes back on. What are you doing? She's like, what? I thought I was auditioning for the naked girl jumping in the pool. I go, yeah, but you don't have to get naked here.
Yeah, but since you did and you're comfortable, let's go through the lines.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. But like some girls, they did that. But for me, I had a girlfriend. I was loyal to her, but I was also nervous. Like, you know, I'm representing a company and, you know, I didn't want to get caught up in any weird stuff. So like I ran out of the room and I went and told one of the producers and he was like, well, tell her to put her clothes back on. We can't have that in here. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. I went back in. She put her clothes on. She was like, everything okay? I was like, yeah, you can't take your clothes up. But that happened more than once. I've had girls solicit me for sex, all kind of stuff, just to get a role on this show. And I was like, wow, yeah, it was crazy, man. But I got married years later.
Okay. All right, I get it. I will tell you that Mark, I had a chance to interview Mark actually on camera when he was doing Patriot. And it was kind of cool because he comes in with his producer and everything. So I was like, I'm sitting down with Mark Wahlberg and everybody ahead of me, it's radio stations, and we're doing a 3-camera shot, and which is cool because you get to see yourself with Mark. And I just saw everybody in front of me, the other shows. And I've been doing radio for 25 years, and I was the bad boy of Atlanta. So I was kind of like you on the radio. I obviously didn't get married till I was 47, 48. I'm having a kid at 55. But I counted it, and I had sex with 419 women. So that's cool. Yeah. And never caught anything but the drip, man. One case of gonorrhea my freshman year in college. So other than that, pretty good selection because I didn't like wearing condoms. So I felt pretty good. But I'm sitting there, I look at Mark, and instantly I go, it's great meeting y'all, Mark. But look, I want to talk to you. And I talked to the producer. I said, where did you come up with it? What it's like with the camera angles? Because I got to tell you, the script's unbelievable. And I just ignored Mark for like 45 seconds. And then Mark did one of those, oh, okay, all right. And just to break the ice with him, knowing full well I had nothing to talk to this dude about. But I just thought Mark was cool as shit. He took some pictures with me, us leaning against each other. And he just seems like one of those guys that is great to hang out with, but a little quiet. Is that him?
Yeah, Mark's pretty cool. He's definitely, kind of quiet and a little reserved. He's very aware of his surroundings and what's going on. He's very professional also. Behind closed doors, it's a little different.
Sure.
Yeah, he's a lot more fun and a lot more outspoken, a lot more wild and crazy. And we had a lot of good times, man. I was in a rap group with Mark. I knew him from, back in the day. And he invited me into this rap group called One Love. And One Love was, again, a multicultural group. There was Ace from the Funky Bunch, who's African-American, Brizzy, who's a mulatto kid that grew up with Mark and was his bodyguard, then myself, this kid, Baby Bubba, this other dude, Monk B. And we had this crew of guys, and we called the group One Love. And like for back then, it was very multicultural group. We took it over to Europe. We did a lot of concerts and tours over there because Mark was promoting a new solo record that he was doing in Germany. And basically what had happened is right in the middle of putting all that together, boom, Fear, boom, Boogie Nights, Basketball Diaries, all these movies just blew up. And, Mark took his fan base and he placed it in the movie industry, and they went nuts for him. And he kind of jumped on that wave, and he's been riding it ever since, and he's done really well. He's picked a lot of great movies to do, and he went in that direction. And like right around the same time for me, considering I kind of have the same following and upbringing as Mark, being from where he's from and doing a lot of the same things from, he used to break dance also and being a rapper and a model. And then I got into acting. My mother's an actress, and I grew up in the theater watching her. And so, it was customary for me to go to the theater and watch her and her theater group perform, and, rehearsals were 4 or 5 days a week. I was getting a lesson, and I didn't even know it. And I didn't know it until I was around 24 when my buddy Jackie Gilardi said, hey, my dad's an agent, he's got this client that got a show called Pacific Blue. Dude, you should audition for it. They're using real cats from the street and everything. I was like, all right. I auditioned and I got the role. And I was like, wow, that was fun. I shot the show. Yeah, and I had a good time. And then hanging out with Mark, these guys came and they were doing a movie and they wanted Mark for the movie. So I met them. I was talking to them and they were like, where are you from? And I was like, oh, I'm from Southie. It's in Boston. They were like, yeah, I know where it is. You know what the name of this movie is? And I go, what? They go, it's called Southie. I went, oh, really? Get the fuck out of here. They're like, no, seriously. Funny thing is Mark ended up not doing the movie, but Donnie Wahlberg did the movie.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I ended up doing the movie, and that was my first movie. So, I look at Mark, and I'm like, I'm pretty grateful because a lot of great things came out of hanging around him, like meeting the right people at the right time. And, I put my best foot forward also, and I brought myself here to Los Angeles. And that's when I bumped into Mark out here. And
well, you're right. I mean, somebody can set you up, but you got to prove yourself. And it looks like you've done exactly that. So I think, Mark, what a great start. What a great to know that you were one of the 4 guys living in the house and entourage of a 6-group clique. But you're right. That is going to open doors. I mean, that's what it is. It's not what you know. Most of the time, it's who you know. So, whether you're playing around the golf with him or y'all are out drinking, he introduces you and somebody's like, I got a speaking role. What the hell? I'll put you in. And then you did it, and I get how that would happen. But tell me,
also, Mark was helpful. He pushed at me to get in a couple of projects and gave, he mentioned me, which was great. Like a lot of people don't do that, and it's a tough industry. It is who you know, but also, I mean, look at me. I'm a street kid. I can play thugs. I play cops. I play a lot of roles. I haven't played a doctor yet. I'm educated. I went to, college and everything, but I'm not your typical doctor. So you can't just jam me or force something. It is who you know, but I mean, the director of a show about a doctor could be my mother, and she might have to let me know, look, son, you're not the doctor, And so it comes down to the talent. It comes down to your character of who you really are, because we lend a lot of our real self to these roles and we make them ours,
Well, I see that you played a SWAT captain in Scorpion. That's cool. Yeah. And then I wonder where your purity comes in as an actor, because I've seen roles. If they asked you to be the lead in Brokeback Mountain, or they said, I want you to be the lead in My Own Private Idaho, you're like, oh shit. I mean,
I'll do it. I'm an artist, man. I
have an Oscar in it, but
that I can pull it off. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I would do it. I would love an opportunity to prove that I can pull it off. Hey, Bruce Willis, he had to make out with a guy in a movie. Also Will Smith, and at the end of the day, they know it's for the art. I'm an artist. At the end of the day, I'm a multi-artist. I dance, I rap, I write, I produce, I direct, I act. I'm a multi-artist. I have to work a lot of years at each one of those forms of art to get an understanding, to know the language, and to be successful at doing it. So, I don't look down upon anything. I mean, I've had to play a guy who shoots a woman in a TV show. I mean, that's bad.
That is bad.
But I did it because I can do it. So I look at everything as an opportunity, and everything is a challenge, especially when it's out of your character. Yeah. That's more of a challenge for me as an actor, and I want to do more stuff like that, like playing the doctor. That's out of my character. I'd have to work on an accent. I'd have to study, what doctors study, learn about medicine, learn about the practice, and maybe I'll convince somebody that I could do it. Maybe I'm 10 years away from it right now.
Look, I want you, because I still watch it. I'm finally losing, I'll miss an episode or two and I don't catch up. But I've loved Grey's Anatomy. I wasn't an ER guy. I'm a Grey's Anatomy guy. You know what? That show has gotten a little stale. I think it's time for you. I want to see you as a doctor next season on Grey's Anatomy.
I want you to be my agent.
Oh, dude, I got this shit. I get done. I look at your body of work, and again, we're talking with Jay Giannone. Grew up in Southie. Got to start, as a break dancer, which led you to Mark Wahlbergs. You were one of the originals on Entourage. But the coolest thing for me right now is that you're writing, you're directing, and you're acting. So tell us about your latest project that you have going on right now.
Well, this project is called Scalpers, and Scalpers is about a guy who's getting out of prison and getting back to basics. Before he went to jail, he was on drugs. He was an alcoholic. He's fucked shit up with his family, and he was a ticket scalper. So when his buddy picks him up from jail, he wants to get back with his family. He finds out his wife or whatever has a guy now, and it just so happens to be a prison guard. So he's pissed. He's aggravated. He's got nowhere to stay. Goes down to the project, stays with his buddy, finds out, tickets are bigger than ever. Red Sox are selling, Celtics, Bruins. He's got to get some tickets with his cash, get out there, buy and sell and make money. And at the same time, he's trying to stay sober, not do any drugs and not drink. And everyone around him's doing coke, heroin, and getting fucked up. So he's very challenged. But his biggest challenge is trying to get back with his family, until he realizes that the mob is trying to close in on the scalping industry. Because you think there's money in selling drugs, not as much as there is in selling tickets. You got 35,000 customers 5 nights a week looking to buy a ticket. If you have a stack of tickets, you know, you pay $50 each and you can get 200 a ticket and make $150 per ticket. Just think about if you have 500 tickets, you can make 75 grand in a day. Now, in real life, I was scalping tickets when I was a kid. That was one of the things I did to supplement my income. It was one of the only things I did. You know, I didn't want to sell drugs and hustle, even though I ended up doing that, which I'm not proud of. I finally gave that up when I had kids. But the ticket industry was really good to me. I could make $10,000 in one day. I didn't know what the fuck to do with that money, though. I had a scratch ticket addiction. I had a fucking lottery addiction. I would take trips to places just to see what they looked like and stay in a hotel for 3 days. You know, I bought a BMW convertible. I was like 20 years old. I lived in the projects. People were like, where the fuck did you get that car? And why do you even have it? And, you know, I had brand new clothes, sneakers, you know, a nice watch. I was balling out of control. So, you know, you write about what you know. And when I was writing Scalpers, you know, I wrote it because it was all I knew. You know, I understand the mob. I grew up in the same projects as Whitey Bulger, you know, so I know the mob personally. I understand what they do and how they've collapsed on certain groups that are making money on their territory. So I put what I knew together with what I was doing, and I wrote a movie and produced it. I directed it. I also played the lead. And the best part about it is I got to bring some of my friends in to be in the movie with me and work with my friends.
That's awesome. You know, and you know, anytime you can almost teach anybody to act for a couple lines, but if they're being themselves and that's what you're looking for, then they're not acting. You just like, here's the line, dude. You know, just
Pretty
be
much.
you. Be you, because what I need is you. That's crazy. That kind of cash flow coming in, like I said, and not knowing what to do with it.
I didn't. I was too young. I didn't know what to do with that money. I mean, I had my own entourage. So I had this kid, Johnny, and my buddy, Kevin. They worked for me. They were like 5 years younger than me. One kid was like, you know, 6 years younger than me. They were like 13 and 14-year-old kids that just they looked up to me and they just wanted to hang around me. So I bought them, if they were going to be with me, I bought them brand new sneakers. I bought them clothes. They looked good. They were from the projects. They were well taken care of, and they were like my little gophers. You know, I'd be like, hey, take these 2 tickets, run them over to the Marriott Hotel. You want to see Joe at concierge. Don't give him the tickets unless he gives you $300 in cash. Boom, they'd bring the tickets over, bring the money back to me. So I needed runners. I needed people running around and working for me and doing things, and I paid these kids. These were 2 kids that had a rough life, growing up in the projects. They looked up to me. I liked them, obviously, because of the attention they gave me. And ultimately, they were rewarded for their loyalty. And, you know, I had a good time working with those guys, you know. And, you know, I look at back at it now.
Yeah, did y'all ever like hook the parents up? Because when you're living in the projects, I get that you've got a nice car, probably in an area of town where you shouldn't have a nice car. You know, hopefully people knew who you were. Or, you know, you're lucky, I guess, the mafia didn't take it because what are you going to do about it? But maybe you were cool with all the right people. But did you ever look at like trying to get your family out of there, like mom and dad or whatever?
I did.
Yeah.
You know, I lost my dad when I was 10. My dad was killed on the streets, and you know, that was really tough. That's what like pushed me to get out there and to get the things that I wanted, because we were on welfare and on food stamps. We didn't have anything. My mother hung around in the local theater, you know, and brought her kids there because she had no babysitter. I grew up, it was me and my brother Anthony. And basically, you know, we ran the streets and we got in a lot of trouble. And then one day we were down the Boston Garden at the arcade playing video games, and someone was like, hey, I got a ticket to Celtics game. Do you want it? And I was like, what do you mean, do I want it? I was like 12. He was like, yes. Look, I can't sell it. You can have it. And they gave it to me. And I was like, wow. Someone immediately came up to me and was like, hey, do you want to sell that? And I said, for how much? And he said, I'll give you $20 for it. And I looked back at that arcade and I said, $20? That's a lot of fucking quarters. Give me the $20. I went back in the arcade and I played all fucking night. I found out there was another Celtics game like 2 days later, and I went down there and I walked around and I was like, does anybody have a free ticket? I was yelling it out. Because I had no money to play video games. Does anybody have an extra free ticket? And some lady came up to me and she goes, I have one. And I said, can I have it? And she said, how old are you? And I was like, I'm 12. She was like, you like the Celtics? I said, I love the Celtics. She gave me the ticket. I immediately went outside and I said, does anybody need a ticket? And I sold it for $50.
Damn.
And that was the birth of a fucking ticket scalper.
You're like, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. Well,
yeah,
Jay,
look, to answer your question, my mother went off to New York.
Okay.
She was chasing an acting career. Okay, it didn't work out for her. It was really tough. She had 2 kids back home, and they were getting in trouble. We lived with our grandmother for the time being.
Okay.
We were getting in a lot of fucking trouble. We were robbing and stealing. I started taking that scalping money and buying bags of weed, rolling up joints and selling them, buying pills, selling them. I started going down the wrong road, man. I went down that wrong road, and I lived on that wrong road for a long time until, from breakdancing, I parlayed that into rapping. Because I loved the music and it was so inspiring to make me dance, I decided I'm going to be the fucking voice. So I took some of that scalping drug money and found a studio and worked with a producer, engineer, and we recorded my first song. And a lot of kids were like, wow, I was only like 17 and there were no white rappers around. None. I was the only one in like the state of Massachusetts except for one guy. And that was Mark Wahlbergs. And me and Mark met up and we would talk. And at this time, my brother Anthony was best friends with Mark's older brother Bob. So Bob would be at my house and sleep over, eat over, hang out. And we were from rival neighborhoods. So for my brother and Mark's brother to be tight, obviously our families got tight. So eventually I would go to Mark's rehearsals for Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, became friends with Donnie, and just watched that whole thing emerge. Cut 2 years later, Mark's blown up. I've only seen him around here and there. We have a connection. I moved to LA. Boom, I bump into him at a club. He's like, what the fuck are you doing out here? I'm like, man, I came out here to try to get a record deal. I'm working on my music, doing a little acting. And he was like, wow. And then he's with some kid, this guy, Johnny Buss. And he's like, wait, what's your name? I'm like, Jay Giannone. He's like, your brother Anthony? I go, yeah. He goes, your brother was my cellmate up in fucking Walpole State Prison for 3 years. Where is he? I'm like, he's on my couch right now kicking heroin. He's like, he's out here? Mark goes, yo, tell your brother we're at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Tell him to come over. He can stay with us. I go home. I'm like, my brother Anthony's sick, not feeling well, but he's making the comeback, And I'm like, hey, do you know this guy, Johnny Buss? His eyes lit up. He's like, yeah, where the fuck did you hear that name? I go, I just bumped into him at a club with Mark Wahlbergs. And he goes, he stood up. The kid hasn't got up in 2 weeks. He goes, where are they? I said, they told me to tell you you're staying at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Here's a number. I gave it to him. He calls, and it's Mark. And Mark's like, what's your address? I'll send a taxi. He sent an $80 taxi over to the Valley to bring my brother to a hotel in Beverly Hills. So the next day, I show up at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and we're all just hanging out together. And then, I guess my brother had looked out for Mark when he was in jail. Like Mark's family was afraid of Mark going to jail. And so my brother had looked out for him because they called him up there. Mark's a target up there. Donnie's a millionaire. Sure. The Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch is just getting going. And he was a target. So my brother, being from Southie runs the prisons. He's a very connected kid. They protected Mark. So when I get out to LA, my brother was like, look, I'm not going to be out here for very long, Mark, but I got one favor. He's like, anything for you. He's like, look out for my brother, Jay. And Mark was like, Jay. Yeah, he was like, Jay, let's take a walk. We took a walk. We talked. And the rest is fucking history.
Dude, this is awesome. I tell you what, hold on one second, Jay. Jay Giannone, a fabulous story. I can't get enough of this shit. I love it. And I love the fact that LA has not caused you to lose your accent, bro. You still got it.
I made 15 movies in Boston. I'm not trying to lose it. They might call me.
You can't. I'm about to say, all your acting is in Boston. You can't lose your fucking accent. I tell you what, we're going to throw to a fine sponsor for a commercial, and we'll be right back with Jay Giannone on the Yeah Come On Show. Brought to you by auctionfinancial.com, circle285.com, and right here is Ridgeline Counseling, Dr. David Markwell.
I'm David Markwell with Ridgeline Counseling. The current situation we're in is bringing all kinds of issues into our lives, everything from stress and anxiety to frustration, bouts of depression and loneliness. Well, we're here to help at Ridgeline Counseling. You can reach us at 770-993-9700. or you can email us at rizlinecounseling@gmail.com. Currently, we're offering telemental services through video and phone platforms, and in a few weeks, we'll be transitioning back to in-person office visits. In the meantime, stay safe. We'll get through this. Yeah, come on.
Special thanks to Dr. David Markwell. Again, I went to him for marriage counseling. I'm 22 years older than my wife, and I think he kept us together because, you know, she had to understand there were 418 women before her, and David helped me with that, and my temper, and being irresponsible and immature, all that stuff that I did wrong. My wife, she didn't need any help. But Dr. David Markwell, thank you for being a sponsor of the Yeah Come On show. Right now, we are still with Jay Giannone, and Jay is, man, this has been a fabulous podcast. I got to tell you, your new project interests me a lot, mainly because everything that you've done has led up to this. And I love the fact when somebody writes their own script and then directs it and then acts in it. And we're talking about Scalpers, which is really how you got your start into big money. I want to know, and to help anyone else watching or listening, how people can see it.
Yeah, sure. You know, you can go to Instagram, Scalpers the movie. So at Scalpers the movie, there's a link, and you click on that link, and it takes you to Vimeo, and basically you go through the motions. Or you can go to at Jay Giannone, and there's a link in the bio there as well, and you click that link, and it takes you to Vimeo. And basically you click on that link, and you can go through the motions to watch Scalpers. Thank you.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. I will knock that down sometime in the next 72 hours. I will see me some Scalpers, buddy. Looking forward to it. Anything that I mean, God, everything from heroin, like, yeah, what's up with your brother? I did 3 years in prison. Well, he's on the couch back at my house, you know, getting over heroin. So you really can't go much further than that. You've seen it, done it all outside of killing anybody. If you have, I don't want to know about it, but I don't think you have.
No, I haven't. No,
yeah.
No.
Well, there you go.
You know, honestly, speaking of my brother Anthony, he passed away also. He was killed out there like 14 years ago. So, you know, I lost my dad and my brother on the street. And that's what, you know, really guided me off the street. Even though I'm still connected to the street and have a lot of friends out there, you know, I try to spread a positive message, to be honest with you, because, you know, I've taken the initiative upon myself to do the work, you know, to learn how to, you know, write a movie and, you know, to produce it. And, you know, I worked for some directors, and as, you know, being an actor, you know, I was always interested in getting behind the camera when I wasn't in front of the camera. And I've been really blessed to have some great people, you know, guide me or give me advice or answer my stupid questions. And that's really all it takes, you know, is, you know how and drive. And for me, you know, it's a blessing. And after seeing what happened to my dad and my brother on the street, it was really just, you know, that was the reason why I decided I don't want to be a part of it anymore. I don't want to be a part of drug dealing. I don't want to be a part of violence. I don't want to be a part of anything that has to do with the street. It's an unfortunate way of life. It's something I was born into. And by getting away from Southie and getting away from Boston, I was outside the box. And then from all the way out here in LA, I could realize that, wow, I was really in the thick of things, really around killers, really around some bad shit. And, you know, getting out here, I became humble. I became vulnerable. And I let my creativity take over. And also, I was a student, and I still am. I want to be a sponge and learn, and I ask a lot of questions. And, you know, I didn't go to film school. You know, I didn't go to acting school. I didn't go to school to do any of these things. I dropped out of college my sophomore year because I got a record deal, which, because I was uneducated, I got ripped off for the money. And, you know, and so all those things and all those experiences have propelled me to want to be successful, to want to know the business and understand the industry. And having an open heart and going for it has allowed me to find success.
Well, I'll be the first to say what anybody else I would hope would say is I'm so sorry about the loss of your father so young, and definitely your brother. I've lost my dad at 47. You know, Brett just lost his father. You know, but you shouldn't lose your father at 10 years old. That's tough. And so my heart goes out to you. But I dig the fact that, like you said, you have no formal training. And it's great because so many people, like you, dropped out of school sophomore year because I got a job in radio.
Wow.
And I was on air, and I was like, this is kind of what I was doing at college, was being on the radio stations. It's kind of what I want to do. But I'd been in sales, promotions, been a promoter, and it all kind of tied in with my career to do what I did. But I, like you, learned on the job, man. And I love the open heart, because I got burned by bad people too. I made some mistakes on a contract. I owned a bar for 5 years, got burned on that. Smoking the Bandit bar, though, cool as shit. Burt Reynolds, baby. But, and it's just like you learn by these mistakes, but these mistakes, they grow your skin thicker, but they also they weigh on your heart. I got some scratches on my soul, and I lost a lot of money, but they make you a better person. But it is tough when you're doing it the way you're doing it. But look at where you are now. I mean, I'd be the first to say I'm proud of you. I think you've done unbelievable. What a life
we
story.
relate. I'm glad we relate, man. Thank you for sharing that, because I get it and I can feel it, man. I know you obviously have been through some stuff, and it's hard to talk about, but the growth is being able to talk about it, and also understanding, because we all play a part in the wrongdoing. For me, I was ignorant. I didn't know the music business, and the money came, and I didn't even know where it went, because I didn't know. I was just a happy guy singing and dancing and doing what I do. But at the end of the day, the record company, they want that money back. And it's my responsibility to be successful, to earn it back for them. And they want to know where it went, and I didn't know. So, I can relate to you. And I've made bad business deals also. And you know what?
I never burned anybody. That's the thing. I've never stolen a nickel. I never burned anybody. I turned 1 8-ball in my life at a party for rent money. So that was 1987, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm a drug dealer, and I went to, it was down in Fayetteville, and that's where the name, see, you're Southie, I'm Southside Steve. In the Southside, when you move to Chamblee, you'll realize doesn't get a lot of love and respect. So when you were partying in Atlanta back in my day, when they asked where you're from, you didn't say the Southside. You did. Right. You just didn't tell anybody. But so I know you're moving to Atlanta, which we talked off air about that, which I think is very cool. You're going to have 2 residents. I look forward to having you here. I want to bring you on our morning show on Bailey and Southside as well. And right now I want to turn you over, which I always hate doing this, but Brett Barney works really hard. This is a educated redneck. He graduated from Alabama.
I love
it. He knows a lot of people, and I've got him on the show because I just don't know what he's going to do next. Like, I don't know what he's going to ask you. So I think you're impossible to offend, but I'm going to turn you over to Brett Barney for a second on the Yeah Come On show.
All right.
Okay. I try and shoot for some of the dumbest questions I can think of, but I did want to start by asking this, because you said you're learning the business as you go, which I think all of us have had to do. I mean, I've done it for my 10 years in radio. You never really know what to expect, no matter if you have a degree or not. But the casting for Scalpers. So my understanding from what I've read is that you just picked people. You didn't have people come in and try out for certain roles. You just handpicked every character.
I did. I handpicked everybody. The way it worked is, I looked for people that were on drugs to play people on drugs. I looked for tough guys to play tough guys. I went directly to Kevin Weeks, who at the time was Whitey Bulger's right-hand man and had a book out called Brutal, and was notoriously known as, a killer and a dangerous man. And I knew Kevin growing up, and I said, hey, Kevin, I'm shooting a movie and I need a guy to play the head of the mob. And you are the head of the mob. Would you do it for me? And he's from the projects too. And he looked at me and he was like, why are you doing this? He was a little reluctant. He was a little reluctant. And I said, well, it's my dream to make a movie, and I don't want to wait for Hollywood to give me a chance to have a lead role. So I'm creating one for myself. And I think you'd be great. All you got to do is be yourself. And he said, all right, I'll do it for you. As soon as he signed on to say he would do it for me, every store, everybody in the community, everybody came and wanted to be a part of it, because Kevin was on the front page of the newspaper, 200 days in a row. He was on every radio show. He was one of the most talked about guys in the United States at the time, and still is, because, Black Mass wasn't out too long ago. And, I just handpicked people that I knew that they didn't have to act. I just said, be you, and it will work. And that's it.
That's awesome. Hey, real quick, while Brett's asking his dumbass questions, no offense, Brett. What are you on Twitter? Are you pretty boy Jay?
No, I'm at Jay Giannone, just my name, JayGiannone. Also on Instagram as at Jay Giannone.
Okay, got it. You are not pretty boy. All right, got you.
How would you be pretty boy Jay?
I don't know, because he's a good-looking guy. He was a model.
Hey, thank you.
The dude looks good. He was on a Gatorade commercial with Michael Jordan, and you also didn't you model sets and jeans or something crazy? What did you model?
J. Crew catalog, actually.
Oh,
He was on J. Crew. That man is a J. Crew model. Damn, you look good.
Thank you.
If somebody came up to you and asked you, do you consider yourself an actor stuntman or a stuntman actor, what would you say?
Oh, man, I'd say I'm an actor first. The reason why I'm able to do stunts and everything is because I did this short film called Interpretation with this guy, Lynn Oding. And Lynn had one of the most amazing stunt teams. He had Arnold Chon, James Liu, Phil Tan. These are the guys that work directly with Jackie Chan, and some of them have even worked with Bruce Lee. These guys look amazing. They've been around a long time, some of them, and they taught me everything about being a stuntman, everything about selling a punch to throwing a punch, to falling down. And I got so interested in that aspect of the industry that I added it to my repertoire. And I'm very grateful, for those guys. And Arnold Chon and I are very close. We hang out a lot. I'm constantly working with him. He's the guy I'm actually going to be that I got this house with down in Atlanta. So Arnold's doing a lot of stunt coordinating and a lot of stunt stuff down there. We got a really, big place, 3-story house, so we can all live in there and work from out of there. We have our gym in there and everything. And I'm constantly working on getting better at it. And I'm his student, basically. So, yeah, I added it to my repertoire as an actor. And the next thing you know, I'm fighting Jason Statham in a movie. And that's one of the highlights of being able to do that.
That's awesome. Yeah. You get to fight Jason Statham. How long did you last?
I didn't last long. Jason, the movie's obviously, the stunts are choreographed for Jason. But, Jason's a friend of mine also. I did this movie called Safe with him. And, man, I had such a good time in the rehearsals and hanging out. We'd go eat after. And the stunt community is really a special community. They put their lives on the line. I mean, they're jumping off buildings. All that crazy stuff you see, people jumping off buildings and getting shot at and, running and gunning. And they make the actors look good. For me, I just want to be able to do my own stunts. So I do the training and the work so I can do that.
Cool. Fantastic.
Have you ever left a set, because you're a pretty committed guy, or at least you seem very committed. Have you ever left a set and noticed like an hour or two later you're still in character?
Fuck yeah, I'm in character right now. You know what I mean? I mean, look, sometimes people write a movie and they say get Jay Giannone because they think, wow, this feels like I wrote it for him. And for me, that's a compliment. I just want to get in there and do my thing. But I think as an actor, you got to be as true to yourself as possible. Now, the flip side of that is, so I have a movie coming out called The Penitent Thief. And it was just bought by Vertical Entertainment. Vertical is a rather big and strong distribution company. The movie hits theaters October 9th. In this movie, I have a totally different accent. It's like 18 BC before Christ. I play a marauder in medieval times, and I end up dying on the cross next to Jesus Christ. So there were two brothers, the two brothers that are famously known for dying on the cross with Jesus. They're thieves. I play the brother, and the movie's about him.
All right, what the hell? I know that's acting. I got to tell you, if you're Irish Catholic, I am on my mom's side. Like, they came over on the boat. I'm Catholic. Is that sacrilegious? I imagine you were raised Catholic.
Man, I went to Catholic school.
Okay, me too.
Me too.
I'm Irish, Italian, Catholic, bro. Of course, man. It's definitely sacrilegious, but as an actor, as an artist, this is a way to tell a story, and a story that's in the Bible. So for me, it's like I did school plays when I went to St. Mary's, and we reenacted a lot of things. And a lot of the plays we did were religious. So for me, this is a religious, movie. So it's just an opportunity for me to continue to do what I've done in the past.
All right, were you the one, because we all know the storyline, there's two of them. One of the dudes isn't giving Jesus his just due, so you assume he's going to hell. But there was one of them going, you don't deserve this, and he goes, you'll be in heaven tonight. Were you that guy?
That's me. I play Dismas, and he's Saint Dismas. He's known as a saint, because he believed in Jesus, and he decided to surrender to the Lord and to Jesus while he was on that cross dying. And Jesus told him, you will be in, the kingdom with me, and you will live eternal life. And he truly believed that. It's a very touching moment in the movie also. It's going to be a great project. I did it with Don Willis and Lucas Miles and Miles Media. And I'm really excited about this project coming out. They're just getting the trailer rolling now. So I have like 7 movies coming out right now also. I just did something with Harvey Keitel called Lansky, and I'm really excited about that. And I got a movie that I did with this group of guys in China. They won the Rooster Award, and that's basically like the Oscar. They came back here. My buddy Jason Yee played the lead, and he's a producer on it. And, I got a few other projects coming out. Man, I'm blessed, I'm trying to stay busy. I'm trying to keep it going. I'm trying to ride that wave and always open to opportunities,
Well, here's what I like. I just got to interrupt you for a second, Brett. The cool thing, and Brett, you may be sensing it too. Talking to you, Jay, it's like you're here, I'm here. Brett's, can you see my hand? Brett?
I'm way off the screen. I'm not even near you guys.
Yeah.
I'm way far away.
No, well, obviously there's more difference between me and you, Jay. But the thing is,
ran around with Wahlberg. You ran around with John Rocker. I mean,
yeah. I dated one of the housewives from Atlanta and hung out with John Rocker. Those are a couple of the bad things
God.
I did.
I love John Rocker, by the way.
That's my boy. That's my boy.
Bro. That guy could throw.
He and I did a lot of shit. Still do. Matter of fact, I roasted him at his house about a year ago. But he, when I see what you're doing, the thing I dig is that you're humble. And I say that because you're on the Yeah Come On podcast. This is a cool, I think it's a great podcast. I dig it because it's really unscripted, but it's a trademark saying. It's from an Atlanta guy that, I'm known here. But I know I'm humble, and I know when somebody approaches me for an autograph or just to take a picture and I feel them shaking when they're next to me, it blows me away because I don't think anything of myself. I'm just doing what makes me happy. And I don't believe the hype. I'm just extremely humble and extremely grateful. And I sense that with you because right now, everything that you have going is light years from what I'm doing, yet you're just as humble. And I just want to tell you, outside of everything, I respect the fact that you're on this podcast and you're spending this much time. I like that. I think there's something very true and really cool about you, man.
Yeah, thank you for recognizing that. God first with me,
Yeah.
I'm just a guy, man, like you, and well, not Brett. Like you said, Brett's a little lower than us. So, I'm like you. I'm a guy. No, I'm just kidding,
Yeah.
Brett. No, look,
Yeah.
we're just men. We're on the same level. And like you said, we're doing what we love. We're really blessed to be doing what we love. And, look, I've been in a lot of rooms, man, with a lot of big people. I worked for Leonardo DiCaprio for a little while. I worked directly with him and Scorsese. They're just guys too, and, I've made movies with like De Niro and I've worked with Ben Affleck and, all these wonderful people. And the one thing that I learned is like you're saying, is they're really just regular people. And we're all really proud and happy to be doing what we love to do. And that's the blessing, man. And I've had somebody ask me for an autograph one time and I was like, why? And I didn't realize why? Because they admire me or they look up to me or they like what
Have you seen your body of work? Have you seen the movies you were in? There's a reason, dude.
Yeah, I don't really. Yeah, it's funny because I'm just Jay, Yeah.
Well, I dig it. Brett, when you get done, I've got one question for him, but go right ahead.
I'll fire some random ones off. Are there any roles that you've passed on that you, in hindsight, now regret?
You know what? No, because, I want to work. So sometimes I do just about anything. I did pass on a role, though, not too long ago. They wanted me to play this manipulator who was engaged in having these weird sex parties. And I was like, I don't know if I want to play that guy. I'm not passionate about doing that. I didn't know the filmmakers. I didn't know what the set was going to be like. The budget was extremely low. The pay wasn't that great. Not that that matters, because if I find a role that I love and I want to do, I'll do it for nothing. And I've done that. But that role I didn't seem, to be passionate about. That was a while back, and the movie hasn't even gone anywhere. So I think I made the right choice. I just didn't want to do something that exploited women and play that guy. Even though it's a challenging role, I just didn't see, like, I couldn't play that. I couldn't play a child molester either. I don't want to play roles that I don't want to support something that I'm not with, not that like shooting or killing or is something that I'm with, but those seem to be more mainstream type things that are going on episodic TV. I mean, you turn on, CSI and there's killing and it's more of an everyday occurrence. There's some things though that rub me the wrong way, so, but no, I haven't, turned down something that I regret,
It's cool.
By far the dumbest question I wrote. Do you get to eat for free at Wahlburgers?
Actually, I have to pay at Wahlberg's, man. I'm trying to get a hold of Mark right now on Donnie and see if I can at least get a couple of coupons for like 50% off. I'd be happy with 50% off. Now, I do have an in. Sorry,
no worries.
I do have an in. I know Mark's mom, Alma. She's such a beautiful person. I may be able to shoot her a call and say, hey, is there an 80% coupon? So, there's a chance. But no, I paid and, I've eaten there and they have some good food. It's pretty good.
I agree.
That's awesome.
Hey, so I don't want to harp completely on Mark, but I'm sure you've seen the schedule. I mean, you lived with the guy. It's like wakes up at 2:30 in the morning and does this. And it's like the most ridiculous schedule ever created. It says he golfs at 7:30 and then he eats a snack at 8 and then cryo chamber at 9. It's like, that can't be.
It's true. I've done that with him. When I was living with him, we'd get up at like 6:30 a.m. actually. So at 6:30, we would get up. We would have these. Drama used to cook them for us, Johnny. We would have, or he had this cook, Chris. We had like cooks in the house and maids and like trainers, and it was a lot of fun. Very grateful for that opportunity because what I've learned from Mark, I've used in my life and carried on and continue to do that. But they would make us pancakes and egg whites, and we would eat like animals. And then back then, I've been sober 15 years now, but we would smoke a joint. Then we'd go in Mark's gym and we'd like fucking animals would work out for like an hour and a half. We would have a different routine every day. We'd work out 5 or 6 days a week. After we were done working out, we would come in and split a half a chicken, okay, with vegetables. And, we would eat like crazy. That was one of the things in how you build your body by, eating healthy and working out hard. And Mark's regimen was something that we all had to work with and be a part of. Mark was like a leader in a way, and we were following him in a way, even though we were leaders at some things in our way, and Mark looked at us for guidance at some things. But when it came to working out, he was the man. He had the trainers, and he was and still is dedicated. Yeah, I've never seen anybody work so hard.
Yeah, when you meet him or talk to him, you see how damn ripped he is and everything, and you're like, I know Hollywood's got its shortcuts, where guys can put on and take off weight and get a 6-pack, but I'm like, I think his stuff's real. You can kind of look and you're like, I think he's just busting his ass.
Definitely. I mean, his dieting is just unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, he diets very proper. He doesn't eat sweets. He doesn't eat cakes. I mean, I've never seen him eat any of that shit. So he's very disciplined.
Dude, I think I have ice cream almost every night, and I got a 2-pack. I mean, I'm okay. I've lost a little bit of weight. But I'm like ice cream or 6-pack.
Right.
Yeah. Big.
Yeah, shut up. I'm not big. I'm cute. I'm hot.
No, I'm fat.
But, I got married, man. I think I had a different regimen out there being single. It's like, they made a joke. I was literally coming to work, and mornings are tough when you do morning radio at 5 a.m., and I'm coming from a different chick's house 2 or 3 days a week. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing? And then you find the right one, you fall in love, and then you have kids, and you're like, yeah, I don't mind putting on a few. It's okay.
Why not? We're getting older. We can do that. Me, I got to kind of hang on a little bit more because it's a competitive business, and I got to stay in shape and run and gun. But believe me, as soon as things slow down and I get that TV series or I can play, like captain of the police department and I don't got to worry about shit, I'm going to be eating a lot of cake, bro. Me and you are going to have some serious
Damn right.
I want
you know what?
Ice cream, brother.
I'm in the same boat as you. I'm about 40% gray, but I color my hair every 6 weeks. And I'm using about 6 different facial creams that I didn't even ask my wife what it cost because I don't want to know. And I'm putting vitamin C, and I'm putting shit under my eyes, and I'm putting this other stuff on. And I go to bed, my face is hard, and I'm like, whatever it takes just to get me another 10 years, man. You got to look. Man. You got to look and seem. I think you got to act 20 years younger, and you got to look 10 to 15 years younger if you can pull it off. Anything past that, it gets weird. You can't have surgery to take off 30 years because then you look weird and everybody knows you did something. You just got to bust your ass. So we're in the same boat. I dig that.
Jay, how did you become friends with John Sally?
Oh, man. I was at a Celtics practice. We skipped school. I was at a Celtics practice. And when the practice was done, the Detroit Pistons were coming in, and I was like, I want to watch their practice. So I get into the practice area, and the security won't let me in. And John Sally puts his arm around me, and he says, he's all right. He's with us. And he walks me in, and he's like, why aren't you in school? And I'm looking at this 7-foot giant, and I'm like, we skipped school to come to the practices and check it out. He goes, yeah, well, you should be in school, man. And I was like, yeah, you're right. He's like, you Italian? I was like, yeah. He was like, cool. He's like, so listen, I got this gold chain with a spider on it. I'm going to put it on your neck. You sit there and watch the practice. Don't leave with it. It had diamonds on it. It was probably worth $50,000. So I'm like looking at it. I'm like, this fucking guy, I don't even know him. I got a $50,000 necklace on my neck. By the way, John went to Georgia Tech. Shout out to Atlanta. Yeah. And John, he kept looking over at me while they were practicing. They just did an hour run around and shoot around and went through the drills. He came back after and took the chain off my neck. He was like, now I know I can trust you. That's what he said.
That's cool as hell. You want the Georgia Tech thing. It's funny. I lived off of 14th Street, which is right in downtown near the Georgia Tech campus. And I was ushering for Tech when I was a little kid. So Georgia Tech became my favorite football team because it's the only college ball I was seeing, even though everybody out here likes UGA, but that might have been, it was 100 miles away. Might as well have been in another state for me as a kid. But my roommate, he actually tutored John Sally.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. John needed some help at math.
Hold on. You ain't going to fucking believe this if I tell you. All right. So I didn't really skip school. I dropped out of school. And then John got it out of me because we went and had lunch after. And he was really looking at me like big brother-ish. And I had a knife in my hood like this big. When he put his arm around me, he was like, what's with the knife? And I was like, it's dangerous out here. And he was like, man, he knew I was in trouble. He was like, where's your parents? I told him my dad had passed away. And John said to me, you got a chance, man. I think you can be somebody. You could do something with your life. And he's like, I want you to go to the game tonight. And I said, okay. He goes, I'm going to leave you a ticket. And I said, hold on. Can you leave me 2? And he was like, yeah, you want to take someone? I said, no, I want to sell the other one to make money, but then I'll go and I'll watch you play with one. And he was like, I was honest with him. He left me 4. I sold 3. I made $300 and I went in with one. I met him after the game and we just chatted, man. And he said, you know what? You need to go back to school. If you go back to school, I will have my friends on every team give you tickets when they come into Boston. I will make the fucking call for you to Jordan, to Barkley, to everybody, and make sure they give you tickets if you go back to school. I was like, this guy's going to pay me like $5,000 to go back to fucking school. So I went back to school and he came through with his word. I got tickets from everybody. I knew everybody in the NBA. And
that's awesome. That's
years
awesome.
later, back to your tutor guy. Years later, I graduate high school. John flies me out to Detroit when they won the world championship that year. I graduated high school as a graduation present.
Wow.
So I'm in the parade. We've been friends now for years. I'm in the parade and everything. Cut 2, I'm going to Northeastern University. I get a free scholarship from the projects. I'm frustrated. I can't do fucking math. Guess what John does?
What?
He fucking tutors me in math. This is no fucking lie, bro. We're in the playoffs with the Celtics, and he's like, how's school going? And I'm like, bro, I'm ready to drop out. I can't even fucking pass algebra. He goes, after the game tonight, come to the hotel. I went to the hotel. He's fucking teaching me math. He's got the hotel door open. You know, he's got room service coming in. This is funny. Bill Lambier, Vinnie Johnson, and Dennis Rodman walked by.
Oh,
shit. And they
shit.
go, what's going on in here? And he was like, fucking teaching Jay math.
Dude, that's hilarious.
So
and my roommate.
Your boy passed something on to him that he passed on to me. I passed Algebra 101. I passed Algebra 102.
That's full circle right there.
I'm about to say, I tell you what, you want to get on an airplane and meet in Texas and just hug, even though it's coronavirus, and fly back home? Damn. Jay, yeah, my roommate's name is Chris Carter. I love you, Jay. I love our connection.
I love you guys.
Right at you. No, that's a trip. Yeah, Chris Carter, and he's like, yeah, I'm dealing with John Sally. Tutored him for 2 years. That's funny as hell. That's a great story. Yeah, man.
Wow, tell him thank you, man,
I
because
will.
John paid it forward, man.
That's incredible. You got one last question, Brett? Or are you done? Because we got a love fest going on.
I know. Okay, I'm going to stick with NBA here. I'm going to stick with NBA on the last one. So you were in the Gatorade commercial with Jordan, but now you
live
in
a print
LA.
ad. That was a print ad. We shot it with John Hewitt. John Hewitt shot all the covers of all the Sports Illustrated swimsuit editions. He shot the very first swimsuit edition. And when John did Sports Illustrated, he became a very world-renowned photographer, and he started doing campaigns. I also did the J. Crew catalog campaign with him, plus a lot of other campaigns. So, yeah, wow. I knew Jordan personally. I mean, there's a video on the documentary series that you've been watching where I walk out of a hotel with Michael Jordan. They've been showing it on ESPN for the last month.
Dude,
I'll text it to you, Brett. I'll text it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had to ask, though, because now you're in LA, who's the GOAT, Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan all the way,
you.
man. Michael Jordan. I'm sorry. Michael Jordan. Brett, you know, LeBron's awesome. Don't get me wrong. He's got a couple of more rings, you know, to come up on before he's going to have that status. I still think Kobe was as good as LeBron, to be honest with you, you know? And also, you know, I got to give Bill Russell a shout out. He's got 11 rings, man. Who's really the GOAT?
Well, there you go. That's a ton of, I mean, if you run out of fingers, that's saying something. I mean, you're not supposed to run out of fingers. God.
It's generational. It's generational.
Yeah.
There'll be another GOAT in 5 years. We'll be around to see it.
Yeah, you want to hope so, but I you know, you look at just a couple of different sports, you try to think who's the best of all time. I don't think, maybe you agree, I do think that Michael Jordan, and I'm going Dr. J, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, anything and everything I saw, I think Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time.
I agree. You know, I think Bill has more accomplishments. Bill was a little bit of a different, not as exciting, didn't have that jumping ability or that finesse, but Michael brought all that to the game. The how to fly, the finesse, you know, the work ethic. Yeah, everything. Michael definitely, to me, is the greatest ball player ever.
Yeah, got to totally agree with you. One last thing I want to hit you up with, and we're going to let you go on the Come On show. Out of all the actors, everybody you've been around, and I have a fabulous independent film career. So when you move to Atlanta, we'll watch certain movies like The Greenskeeper and Sorority, things I've been in. Okay. John Rocker starred in Greenskeeper with me. I think you'll love it.
All right.
They're shitty, but they're fun.
All right.
I'm not the actor you are, but I get to use a gun in one of them, so it's fun.
That's awesome.
No, dude, but I have being in a major market. We've had a lot of people come through the studio, and I've met people, and I've seen people that are jerks, and seen people that are like nicer than I ever could imagine. Who is like the coolest person you've ever met as far as an actor?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Wow. Okay.
He's just a whole different breed of animal. No ego, you know, just he doesn't even realize he's the biggest actor in the world. And I think it's because he has always kept his friends around him and the right people around him. You know, Mark's definitely a nice guy too, don't get me wrong. Also, Johnny Depp was really cool, man. You know, I hung with Johnny for like 2 hours in his trailer on Black Mass, and we got to talking about music and everything, and he was just really down to earth, you know. There's quite a few guys out there that are, you know, really sweet people and down to earth, and most of the community is, to be honest with you. You know,
who's the biggest, without getting you in trouble, who's the biggest jerk? Can you say?
Shit, I haven't really encountered any issues like that with anybody. I guess I'm just blessed and lucky. I treat people the way I want to be treated. I mean, I've heard stories where people have butted heads and things like that, but you know, somebody might get a bad rap to one person, but to 99 other people, they're amazing. So I think it just comes down to, you know, the situation and the people that are involved. For me, I've been lucky. I haven't had any problems with anybody.
No, and I believe that. And you're right. The thing is, when you make a living, whether it's at the bottom rung of radio, which is what I do, or an actor, which is what you do, you can't have a bad day. You've always got to be there. You got to give yourself, which is tough on my wife. If somebody recognizes me, I give them more time than I should, but that's just the way I am. I've always been that guy. Yeah. I wear my heart on my sleeve, you know. But it's funny, in radio, I work with a guy that's opposite of me. I can't, you know, it doesn't work when there's two nice guys. There's got to be a bad boy, and it just doesn't work for me. But I'm like you. If you push me, I got to be pushed so hard, man, to get that Irish temper. But I think we all got it. I'm like, you'll see it if you go there. You got to be the biggest dick in the world. But I got to tell you, what a pleasure. I think you're as nice as you are talented. I think you're as nice as you as horrible things you've seen. You know, if that makes any sense. I think you've come through it, man, and I love that you walk with the Lord too, brother. And I'm God-fearing myself, and it's been an absolute pleasure. I haven't been blown away like this in a long time by a human being, and I'm glad you're out there, Jay Giannone. I appreciate it, man.
Steve, I appreciate you, man. Yeah, I really do. Yeah, you're very down to earth, and you know, walking with the Lord, I respect that, and you know, I appreciate you having me on the show, Brett. You know, Maynard. You know, you guys are almost as cool as Steve, and you know, I appreciate you guys.
How do I get up this?
Awesome.
Brett, there's Jay.
I gotta throw that sense of humor in there.
How do I get up the fucking ladder?
Brett.
What a great show. What
We
a great
love you,
show, man.
Brett. You're coming up. Jay Giannone, guest on the Yeah Come On show. Thank you so much. Again, this was brought to you by Circle 285. It was also brought to you by Ridgeline Counseling. And I got to tell you, man, it's just been fantastic. So I look forward to maybe having you on again. I look forward to you moving here. And I'll send you my info. I'm following you on Twitter. I'll get to your other means later. Last quickly to end the show on a cigarette break, tell people how they can follow you. And once again, Scalpers, make sure they're on top of it.
Sure. Instagram and Twitter at Jay Giannone, JayGiannone. And then also on Instagram, Scalpers the Movie, at Scalpers the Movie. The link to the movie is in the bio on Scalpers the Movie and on at Jay Giannone. Please check out the film, and thank you very much for your support.
All right, I'm Southside Steve, my co-host, Brett Barney. Thank you for booking one of the most interesting, fun guests, and I think a friend here, man. And
Yep,
Tyler
absolutely.
Maynard, the on-again, off-again producer, we appreciate you. It's the Yeah Come On show. Thank you, Jay.
Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of the day.